are now tuned in to United Football Media. Tell me about it, the number one wraparound show for the United Football League, brought to you by the number one spring football media conglomerate, the United Football Media. Be sure to check out everything that we have. We got pods for every single team for individual breakdowns of these squads right here on the United Football Media YouTube page. You know, last week on this show, we talked about how a lot of these solid teams would be making what appeared to be business trips. A lot of these games seem to be very lopsided from the outset. A lot of teams with the best records going against the ones with the worst ones. And we said this will tell you a lot about the level of locked in these squads are if they can go on these business trips and do what is expected of them to do and pound on these teams. And surprise, surprise, it didn't really happen in any of these games. Pretty much every game was close this week. Pretty much every team on the wrong end of the win-loss records put up a good fight. Like I said last week, and something that's positive about this league, of course, the win-losses are important. Of course, you want to go out and be successful. You want to win. You want to be in a position to win a championship. But also, just as much, if not more, this league is supposed to be about giving these guys opportunities to get to the next level, to get invited to camps. Therefore, it's just about getting good reps and good film and good tape out there of yourself. And that goal is still obtainable regardless of win-loss. You can still go out there and do your thing and be putting in great effort like all these guys do, even with a losing win-loss record. But the first game was the only game this week that really had a lot on the line. DC Defenders, St. Louis Battlehawks, DC Defenders fighting for their lives. We just watched, spoiler alert, the Brahmas clinch their way into the playoffs. So I'm not sure if the DC's completely mathematically gone, but it's very, very close. This was a huge damaging thing to keep their season alive. Battlehawks take it 26-21. You can hear Noah hitting us up for the page. Battle Talk Monday afternoons right after us. Of course, DC Defender Show. Alex and Webb. We'll see if there's a little more moratorium on this season. We'll see what they got to say this week. It'll be interesting. Last minute, we found out Agent McCarron's not starting. It's going to be Manny Wilkins. Wilkins, it's only a 7-yard completion percentage, 7 yards per completion average, only 50% completion, but he did add 79 yards, 6.5 yards of carry on the ground. He looked explosive. He looked dynamic. I loved the way it looked at times. I think they're in good hands with him out there as the backup quarterback. Jacob Sailors and Wayne Gallman, good contributions with some touchdowns on the day. The DC Defenders continued a lot of the woes that we've seen them have. It was the perfect opportunity for them to right the ship, for them to keep their season intact and going. And even in that situation, they could not get it done. Axe, tell me about this Defenders season and this Battlehawks Defenders game.
Defenders, unfortunately, they've been in very close games with multiple teams. So it's just like, it's real unfortunate they couldn't close the deal here, especially since St. Louis had their backup. Manny Wilkins did a very good job as far as being a dual threat, mainly on the ground. The 79 yards is very important, but I don't know, like the run defense and giving up splash plays, as we've been saying all season, that's what plagued the Defenders. So,
yep,
it's just unfortunate. And then Tiamu with 2 interceptions, that's just not going to cut it. Like St. Louis is too good of a defense.
I'm watching the game and I'm watching the breakdowns of these interceptions, like the replays, and I'm like, okay, let's place bets on what the excuse is going to be. Did the coverage not give him enough help on this one? Was the receiver somehow wrong on this one? Just what are the excuses from the excuse factory working 12-hour shifts going to be for Tiamu on these turnovers? Since we're still fighting to not hold nothing accountable for this offense. I thought it looked decent with Jalen McClendon last week. I don't know. Hopefully if it's looking pretty much over for them, that we can get some Jalen McClendon. He can get some tape and get some reps. I don't know. But yeah. Tay, what'd you think of the game, man?
The game went kind of how I expected. I didn't know AJ McCarron was going to miss the game. I don't really think anyone thought of that possibility, but he missed it. Ja'Cory Pearson was also out, but it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. The Defenders kind of playing from behind as far as their season goes. Like they're 3-5 right now. Not what really what anyone expected from them. Jordan Ta'amu hasn't been the guy that we all thought. He's been solid, but not what we thought.
I don't know about solid. They've been just bad for a lot of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking more so last year. Like, I think
Yeah.
he has some high hopes coming in this year, but it just hasn't panned out. The Defenders' run game was all right. It wasn't all that existent, Kind of got to beat the Battlehawks in two ways. That's like kind of like how the Stallions did. You can't rely on the passing game because the passing game wasn't really there. Ta'amu turned the ball over twice, which is kind of hard to win. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kind of hard to win that way, And the Battlehawks, like you said, Manny Wilkins just did enough for the Battlehawks to win. I was getting kind of nervous, like just watching the game. Defenders kept it close, but the Battlehawks at the end they took it over, and yeah, they got it done. Not many receivers popped off for the Battlehawks, but
Yeah.
they got the dub at the end of the day.
True thoughts on this disappointing DC Defenders game. I think DAR still might make an appearance at that season finale, but tough times.
Well, it is very, very disappointing to see how DC Defenders have played this season. I think we were all kind of sold a bunch of lies on what the potential of Ta'amu was for this season, and he has not lived up to the potential or what we were told he would be at all, really. And that to me has tanked their season almost completely. You're 3-5. You can't seem to close out games. You don't seem like you can compete against the top teams in the league. So there's really not much more to say about them. They just can't do what needs to be done to get over the hump, and unfortunately, came back to bite them in the butt a couple times. So, Battlehawks, I feel like this was a game DC could have won, should have won. Battlehawks didn't come out playing. I don't think they played anywhere near their best football, and DC just couldn't do it. And I think we just continuously have been shown this year that the Defenders just don't have whatever they had in previous seasons. They don't have it this year. So it is what it is. Well-deserved L.
Both in the small and big picture. I'm excited. I feel like we're going to get a more positive, upbeat, fun episode of Roughnecks Rundown with my guy Ace this week. I'm hoping to see that because the Roughnecks put up one hell of a fight this week. Way more than I think anybody expected. Again, talking about this just should have been a business trip for the Stallions that are at home. Opposite ends of the spectrum of most power rankings. And they really struggled to put the Roughnecks away. Roughnecks put up a great fight. We do have to highlight, but they did end up the win, 35-28. I'm sure Buck and Scout on our Stallions pod, Stallions run, they are going to, a win is a win is a win. So I'll be interested to see what their breakdown of this is, or if they thought that the Stallions underachieved a little bit. Stallions get the win 35-28. Big time highlight. Stop me if you've heard this before. We sound like a broken record at this point. Adrian Martinez, 5 total touchdowns. Over 200 total yards, 5 total touchdowns. 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. I just don't see how it's not a runaway for MVP right now. A runaway. Tay, tell me about it.
Yeah. Adrian Martinez with another great game. He hit Deion King for a touchdown. He hit Amari Rodgers for a touchdown. Stallions are definitely the best team in this league. Like, they just come in and week out. They don't play to teams' levels. They play to their level, so that's why they win every week. Adrian Martinez, 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 6 rushes for 44 yards, which is that's really good for a quarterback, especially you can get in the end zone twice. Then they had Ricky Person Jr. He had 63 rushing yards, no touchdowns, but that's fine. Mr. Running Tech was pretty good for them. Just all around, the Stallions just played. They just played the better game. The Roughnecks did. They competed. They kept it close, but when you watched it, you just kind of knew the Stallions just had the game in control. Like the game was in their hands the whole time. Roughnecks probably played their best game of the season, but it still wasn't enough because obviously, they were playing the elite Stallions. Mark Thompson got it going, 2 touchdowns, 54 rushing yards. That was something. Kiki Chisholm had 80 receiving yards, and Justin Hall, he had 73 himself. But yeah, even though they played their best game, it just still wasn't enough. That's just how dominant of a team the Stallions are.
I think it's a good reminder, of what we said from the beginning, from week 1. It's a shame that things went this way for the Roughnecks because it's clear, right here they're showing you they have the talent to hang with anybody and do anything. So tough way the season played out. What were your thoughts on it there, Axe?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They had a quarterback carousel because Reed Senate got hurt and Nolan Henderson. He gave him a nice little dual threat change of pace.
Yeah.
He played pretty decent. But and then Mark Thompson, he had some nice runs too. Like the fact that Houston was able to get 135 yards on the ground, that was very surprising. Probably the biggest surprise of the week. But Stallions took care of business. Martinez playing MVP level, most likely to get that. The receivers playing great again.
I don't know if it's even close. Can anybody here think of anybody, especially now that AJ McCarron has missed a game? I can't think of anybody who's even close.
I think he got it.
True. What do you think, man?
Yeah, that's crazy with the D line.
Yeah, I mean, man, look, let's be real here. Nobody expected the Roughnecks to actually win. I don't think I even expected the Stallions to take them really seriously. And I don't know if they really did because the Roughnecks were able to keep it close. I feel like this is one of those games where you're an undefeated team who has, blown out certain teams, escaped with wins. You're just trying to get to the championship at this point. Nobody's touching you right now. You are head and shoulders above everybody else. So this was a game to me that the Stallions just let's do enough, let's do enough to win. And I think they knew you don't have to give 100% against a team like the Roughnecks. And I don't mean that in a mean way to the Roughnecks. It's just the reality of who they are and how they look. And they look decent. They had moments where they looked decent this game, but it's just the Stallions are toying with them. Obviously, Martinez, can't say enough about this guy. We keep every week there's just a conversation, and it's like at some point you just got to crown him what he is, and he's going to be MVP. The Stallions absolutely look like the championship is theirs to lose. So, that's pretty much it. I mean, the Roughnecks, we knew their season was done a while back, and all you can do now is just get some of those guys out there, get some reps, maybe get them some opportunities for, being looked at for, other potential things, or kind of set the template for what next year is going to look like, next season. So, hey, that's, we're in the dog days. We're like in the, very tail end of the season. So now you're just getting your reps. Yeah, just getting your reps and trying to stay afloat. And for the Stallions, stay healthy. That's really it.
A similar game that followed a similar script we asked about last week. The first step to the Panthers showing us that they were in the top tier was going into Audi and getting that victory, which they did a great job. The second step was, can you go in and handle business against a team that you're expected to dominate? And they, just like the Stallions, let the Showboats hang around a little bit more than I think most of us think they should have. But the positive here, they did get the win, 24-18. And things are really looking up with this Bryce Perkins situation. Bryce Perkins, 78% completion, touchdown, adding 6 yards of carry on the ground as a runner, 9 carries, 55 yards. Things are really looking up if that can continue to gel and smooth out. If he can be a dynamic force for them at quarterback, the sky is the limit for this squad, with that defense, with the special teams, with their solid running game. Michael Coburn, another week, 24 carries, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns, did an awesome job. You can hear the individual breakdown on the PAWD podcast there with my guy FBI Tugboat for the Panthers. The boats. Is Brandon even putting that thing out anymore? Is he headed for the hills? Has he gone into hiding? I don't know. I'm gonna look into it. We'll all be looking out for it this week. Panthers 24, Showboats 18. Again, this could get real dangerous if Bryce Perkins continues to gel and things continue to pick up and he gets left in the game. Axe, what do you think? I know you were very impressed with some of the skill players on the Showboat side too, keeping them alive in this game.
Yeah, once again, like Dawood Davis, even though the season has gone well for the Showboats, want to give a shout out to him. He's played great every single week. Like probably, if I'm not mistaken, one of the reception leaders in the league. He's got to be top 3 or top 5. Just consistently getting open, consistently getting touchdowns, consistently around like 80
taking
plus
house
yards
calls.
a game.
Yeah, he had a 65-yarder in this one.
Yeah, he gets about like 80 or so yards a game. So shout out to Dawood Davis, despite having multiple quarterbacks, like still playing at a high level. He's had like 3 different quarterbacks throw to him. So shout out to him. But the Panthers defense is tough. Defensive line, once again, with 3 sacks, they constantly get pressure on you. Bryce Perkins, efficient in the air, efficient with 55 yards on the ground. I think they just need to roll with him and scrap the 2 quarterback system.
Agreed.
Like Lewerke isn't bad, but the offense just flows better when Perkins is out there. And his ability with Coburn, it just meshes so well, and it just makes an already great running game even more potent. So I would just roll with Perkins, honestly. So
Tay, what did you think?
Yeah. Kind of expected this to go this way. Panthers usually get to take care of business at home, which they did with the backup quarterback. I do think it should be Perkins next week, just for the foreseeing future. Yeah, Matthew Coburn had a great game. He's one of the best running backs in the league for sure. I keep seeing it. He has a lot of these big games, very impressive. 93 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, which pretty much I'd say he's the player of the game. Devin Gray, 84 yards and a touchdown as well for himself. And yeah, for the Showboats, I did not think they would have one win this deep into the season. I know some of us are happy about that, but I didn't expect that. We had Brandon on here. He was so excited for the season. I think he said 6 wins or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if 2 is even going to happen. Yeah, but the bright side is they do have Dawood Davis, who he is second in receiving yards. So, yeah, I mean, I hear his name every week. He's their top receiver every week. So, Showboats have something to celebrate. Run game hasn't really been good all this year. Case Cook is just not what everyone predicted either. A lot of people were saying he was the best quarterback. But yeah, Showboats, it's going to be the last 2 games. I feel like they're just going to play to get through the end of the season. Just hasn't been good for the Showboats all year long. But yeah, shout out to the Panthers for another win.
True. Look at that big smile. We're all having a good time
I want to first issue an apology to Brandon because I cursed your team at the beginning of the season.
The curse of God.
Yeah, as usual, that curse has gone around for several people, but I don't.
It has yet to fail.
Yeah, I just want you to know, Brandon, I did not mean for your team
Just
to
so all
be
of you
1-7.
all of you out there, you think I'm joking. Jacksonville Jaguars, their season immediately went to hell when they were leading the division. Certain
Yeah.
wrestling companies out there, they're circling the drain. Their viewership is burning alive. And now in this league as well. He is a multi-league cursed sender because now the showboats have sunk to the bottom of the river as well.
I'm so sorry, Brandon. You did nothing wrong to me at all. But I just didn't see it for showboats. I thought, I would expect them to be like 3-5 maybe right now, not 1-7. And I think with some of their performances, that would have been possible somewhat. They haven't got completely wiped out in some of the games that they've lost, but they just haven't put together and strung together enough of a complete performance. And I think this is the same thing. Really, it's just the same thing. I think nobody expected the Panthers to be able to be 6-2. I didn't see that. I thought at this point 4-4. If you're lucky, starting out in the beginning of the season. But that's why it's so hard to do predictions without seeing how the injuries play out, how the teams match together. I think the Panthers defense very good. It's their strong suit, personally. To me, I think it's their strong suit. But they have so many. They're a dangerous team because you never know what you're gonna get week in and week out. I think that's dangerous to game plan for. I think it's dangerous to kind of look out for. So the Panthers did what I expected them to do. I expect the Panthers to do the same this coming week. And honestly, this is going to be interesting because the Panthers right now 6-2, the brahmas 6-2, battlehawks all 6-2. There's a very big possibility that the Panthers could end up 7-2. And that makes it interesting because there's a chance that the Brahmas can end up 6-3. So it's making for a really interesting end of the season to kind of see what these records are gonna look like. And yeah, I mean, as far as the showboats, I know I apologize, Brandon, but I'm so happy for the suffering of the team. I'm so happy for the suffering because I was like, I had to pinpoint one team that I was like, there's only one team, and I wasn't gonna pick the Roughnecks because we obviously had the lovely Kennedy Smith. I would never go against the Roughnecks, even if they don't look great. Like I'm not gonna go against them. Never.
My two favorite people that we've interacted with is Kennedy Smith and Ace. So I cannot wish bad things against the Roughnecks.
Can't. Better luck next season, right? Better luck next season. Come
absolutely.
back, recalibrate. But as far as the showboats, absolutely not. I wish you no luck for next season. But I think the defenders disappointed me the most. But the showboats bring me the most joy.
Showboats might be the Biloxi, Mississippi showboats next year. Who knows?
Well, you never, right? Never know. But like I said, showboats just don't have it this year. You don't have it at all, and it's not because they don't have talent, because they definitely have talent there. It's just not. It just hasn't been working, and you just got to figure out what to do to come back, wherever or however it goes next season. It's time to start looking ahead to the next year and what we can do to improve, and what players can we bring back or not bring back. There's all of that, and so for the Panthers. I mean, on the next week, very big week. Not necessarily a big game for the Panthers, but still a big week.
They are going to be cracking beers and pouring shots of whiskey down there in the cow pasture this week. Our guys, Brahma Bullpen, another win week, win Monday, win Tuesday, win Wednesday when they post their show. Brahmas overcome the Renegades late push 20-15. This is really interesting because maybe the benching was a wake-up call. Maybe they finally have gotten their groove properly, but Quentin Dormady goes off in this game. 320 yards on just 17 completions, 2 touchdowns, led the way absolutely for this Brahmas team, a complete reversal from things that we've seen. Anthony McFarland, it was a terrorizer out of the backfield. 118 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Cody Latimer, 6 for 116. Our man, John Trey Kirkland, pitching in 5 for 48. The defense was doing its thing as well. Blew up a final 4th and 12 attempt for the Arlington, trying to make a comeback. Wyatt Ray breaking right in right off the bat. Phenomenal play, along with Prince Emili cleaning up the sack to end the game. A very complete performance by the Brahmas here today, clinching their playoff spot. Looking very impressive. Tell me about it, Tay.
Yeah. And another thing, I think all of us predicted the Brahmas to beat up on the almost Renegades. You know, they almost win every game. So yeah, Quentin Dormany had an excellent game, 300 passing yards. I don't think anyone expected that after the
how it looked.
mediocre kind of weeks, before this. So shout out to him, added 2 touchdowns with that. This team they just went up early. They were up 20-3, and I guess their game plan was get up early and hold the lead. That comes with a great defense like the Brahmas have been all season.
Yep.
McFarland had 118 receiving yards, which was interesting to see. 2 touchdowns added to that, and Cody Latimer had 116 passing yards. So this pretty different game. I don't think anyone expected the or the Brahmas to win how they did. Usually they're running the ball a lot more, stuff like that. But yeah, man, the Renegades. It's another one of those weeks. Almost, they almost win every game. If it all went, they could be undefeated. If it all went to their side, but I guess we thought this was going to be a good team, but they're just not, and that's just the reality of it.
One of my favorite phrases is, if a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump its ass so much.
Yep.
That's basically what we're looking at. The almost Arlington. Be interested to see what we got to say there on the Hellraisers podcast next week. It was a fun week last week. We'll see how they recover this week. One of my favorite shows. It would be yours too. If you guys check it out, give it a listen. True. The almost Arlington Brahmas playing a pretty darn complete game. Defense, receiving, Quentin Dormany finally stepping up. Looking dangerous, headed down, man. That plus 1600, looking mighty tasty right now.
I was just about to say, if you watch this show through its entirety in terms of the weeks that we've all been on for this season, and you took that early, and we said it, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourself. So the Brahmas are becoming way more of a complete team than I think we expected when the year started. I think when the odds makers expected, that's why it looked the way it looked. I think I didn't expect the Renegades to win. I don't think anybody ever expects the Renegades to win at this point. You expect them to go put in a performance that gets them close to a win, and then it just falls down so terribly in the end. But I think for the Renegades, they have something to build upon, because you can compete. You're not getting blown out. You're not getting, just slaughtered off the field. You're competing. You're leading in most games at some point, and you just blow it. So there's something to build there with the Renegades, but that's a conversation for next season. For the Brahmas, you're just kind of showing yourself up because you have a extremely tough test ahead of you heading into next week, depending on how everything shakes out, of course. But you on paper, you have the toughest test you've had all year. So I think we know the Brahmas are legit. I think we know they are a really good defensive team. Offense is starting to strike. So they have something there, but next week is that test, and we'll see how that goes. But for right now, solid game. They did what they're supposed to do. Walked away with the victory as expected. Renegades. It's not even much to say anymore about the Renegades.
So it's interesting. Playoffs are set. Battlehawks and Brahmas clinched, but I think both teams they could switch. The games still matter because home field advantage could be on the line for both of those squads, and the Brahmas have a decent home field advantage, and I think would for a playoff game especially. So still stuff on the table to fight for these squads, which plays into Battlehawks Renegades. I think every bit to start off week 9, noon on ABC next Saturday. I think every bit of the Battlehawks will want to fight, will want to win that game because they will want to host a playoff game in the championship game in front of that loyal, boisterous, wild home crowd. So I don't think they're going to let the foot off the gas too much, especially if McCarron's out again. You're going to want to get Wilkins good reps in a competitive environment. So I'm taking Battlehawks. I think they're going to take it seriously against the Renegades next week. What do you think, they're Axe?
Yeah, Renegades had so much tough luck. Like another tough 5-point loss to the Brahmas. So many single-digit losses. That right there, Luis Perez has played at a pretty good level, but it's just they just can't get over the hump this season. Like, I don't know. I think the Battlehawks take care of business, but it'll be a close game, especially if McCarron can't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Battlehawks winning probably by like 7 or so, something along those lines. I think Arlington will fight, but just won't have enough at the end. And I think Wilkins can make a lot of plays if he is playing on the ground, because the Renegades are susceptible to giving up a lot of big plays. They gave up 320 passing yards this past week. So
on 17 completions. Whew.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of big plays.
They give up explosive plays. So Hakeem Butler could get off.
Yeah, absolutely. Tay, tell me about it. Battlehawks, Renegades. Picking Battlehawks?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pick the Battlehawks every single week. Which is pretty
from here on out.
Oh yeah, I definitely am in the playoffs too. Yeah. So I think they can still get it done without. If AJ McCarron doesn't play, he could come back. He could not. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I would say because they do have that playoff spot, and they are at home. I don't remember them losing at home. Maybe lost one. Not 100% sure on that, but yeah, just going with the better team and the Battlehawks.
True. What do you think? Battlehawks going to handle business?
I mean, not counting on the Renegades to win a game, so
there you go.
Absolutely going Battlehawks. There you go. Simple as that.
Saturday, my game of the week. This is going to be real interesting, I think, because I think both teams will be motivated. This is another stare down. It ain't going to count much for the playoffs, except for the Brahmas in the home field. But Stallions, Brahmas, I think the Brahmas are good enough, and I think that they want to be the team that puts that one loss on the Stallions. It's Brahmas versus Stallions, 3:00 ABC. I'm going Brahmas. Cow pasture. Got more to play for, and I think they have a little more extra motivation than the Stallions do for this one. Tay, what do you think?
I think I picked against the Stallions maybe too many times. Okay. I won't be caught doing this again. So you have a good point. Like it does seem like that kind of game, but I just been wrong every time I pick against the Stallions. So I'm gonna not do that. So yeah, I'm going with the Stallions.
Axe, what do you think? Enough to sway you to pick against the Stallions?
Nah. Well, I think it'll be a tough game. I just think Martinez's dual threat ability is something that the Stallions defense hasn't seen yet, and I think he can get off. So I think it'll be a close game. They won't get blown out. It'll be single digits, but I have the Stallions continuing their winning streak and playing at a high level. But Mosley, Devontae, and Jordan Williams ain't gonna make it easy.
Yeah, if there's any defense that has the studs to do something with Martinez and slow him down, I think it's the Brahmas. So I'm excited to see it. True. What do you think, man? Picking the Brahmas over the Stallions, or am I a lone wolf on this one?
I gotta let you be the lone wolf here, only because I think Adrian Martinez he can feel the MVP trophy within his grasp, and he's going to go out there and put on a clinic. And I think that is what's going to. And I also think, even though the Brahmas have more to technically play for, I think the Stallions just to go into that playoffs with 0 losses.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a motivating fact. Like, we want to win we want to run the table. Like, we want to win every single game. So I see it being a very close game. Could definitely go either way because the Brahmas are more than capable and they're at home. I'm gonna just go with the Stallions just because right now you don't bet against Adrian Martinez. That's how you can't bet against the MVP. So I'll go
Money
with Stallions.
Martinez. That's what we should start calling him. Defenders, showboats. Rough record-wise, but again, these guys want to get snaps. They want to get tape. They want to make their way back to a league, maybe the NFL, maybe the CFL, maybe whatever. So, or maybe be back, put on a good enough effort to where they're invited back to the UFL next year. I'm going DC. We've made plenty of extensive commentary about DC during this show, during all the weeks of this show. But I think the last week was, this past week was the Showboat's final gasp of competitiveness. I think the DC defenders are gonna roll. What do you think there, Axe?
Yeah, I definitely had defenders winning. But I also think that it'll be a close game. I think Davis could get off against the defender secondary, who's known for giving up big plays. Both offensive lines have been susceptible to giving up a lot of sacks. Both quarterbacks have been, mainly Tiamu has been a high turnover guy. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to be a close game. If I have the defenders winning, I just feel like Memphis has a lot of deficiencies that is too tough to overcome, in my opinion. So, yeah, the defenders by between 7 and 10 points. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a blowout. I wouldn't be surprised if it's single digits, but I'm expecting single digits.
True, we probably don't even need to go to you for this one. But
I just want to point out. So Sunday, when this game takes place, is my birthday, and
oh my god,
nothing would make my birthday that much better than the Showboats losing. But with the way my luck is going lately, I would not be surprised if they randomly get a win. So I'm gonna go with the defenders, and I am going to pray to the heavens above that the Showboats don't somehow walk away with a victory, because the curse has to continue. The curse must continue.
It's very powerful at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, so it has to continue. Plus, I just think the defenders, you don't want, you just don't want to lose to a team like, you just don't want to lose to a team like that. You want to go in there and at least give yourself some confidence, a little bit of confidence, because obviously it's been broken in how you played and shows. So I think the defenders pull it out, but I could see it go either way, just because neither team is a head and shoulders above the other. Just defenders are like a tad bit better, but neither team is, so I'll go defenders.
Sunday, 2:30 on Fox. You wouldn't look at it and think it was interesting right off, but Panthers on another business trip against the Roughnecks. Roughnecks have talent. It's going to be hotter than hell down there in Houston in an afternoon kick in late May. I think it might end up being a little bit competitive. I hope not. I hope the Panthers show out and prove us right. I know I had them in the top 3 in my power rankings this week. I hope they prove me right. I hope things go good, but there are factors at work here that I would not hate on one of you guys for making a Roughnecks pick here. I'm going Panthers. What do you think, X?
I'm going with the Panthers too, but I hope that they start Bryce Perkins. And as far as the Roughnecks, I think they should. The Roughnecks should start Nolan Henderson rather than Reed Sinnett if he's injured. If he's injured, because at the end of the game he was like clearly immobile. He really couldn't move. He was eating a couple of sacks. So yeah, like that was against Birmingham because Birmingham's D line is tough. They're probably the only one that's better than the Michigan D line, in my opinion.
Yep.
So yeah, they should start Henderson, try to get a dual threat thing going, see if they can keep the game close. But I have Michigan winning this game. Probably decisively. I just think defense is going to force turnovers. And if Perkins plays the entire game and they get Colburn on the ground and that whole thing churning for about like 150 plus yards, I think it'll wear Houston down and they'll win decisively.
Tay, thoughts?
Yeah. I'm done picking 1-win teams unless they're playing against each other.
Yeah.
I'm done. That's all over. So
solid policy.
yeah, I'm done. I don't know why I keep doing that, and I'm done doing that. Yeah, so I'm going with the Panthers. They're the better team. They have more wins. They're going to win. Roughnecks just haven't really looked good at all this year. They might have 2 quarterbacks out there again, and that's never really a good look on how to win games unless you're the Stallions. And they're that good of a team. But yeah, I'm definitely going with the Panthers on the road.
True. Any shot. I mean, we got our friend down there, Kennedy. She's going to be whipping up that crowd into a frenzy. It's going to be hot. Maybe.
No.
No.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish nothing but the best for Kennedy and all everybody that supports the Roughnecks. I think the Roughnecks, I think they have something there. It's just got to cultivate it right. You got to get it together. And unfortunately, I don't feel like the Panthers are the team you're going to get it together against. It's a little too late for that anyway. Panthers truly need need to continue the momentum they have. So I think every team that's playing this, I think the only teams that really aren't playing for anything at all are the 1-win teams, really. And I mean, the DC Defenders also obviously aren't playing for anything. But I think the Panthers, you want to make a statement, you want to leave a mark. I think same thing for the Brahmas, same thing for the Battlehawks, same thing for the Stallions. Like all these teams that are gonna be in the championships want to make a statement and get themselves prepared for that. So, what better way to do it than to beat up on a 1-win team? Can't. That's just But in football, it's just one game, so you never know. All it takes is one off night, and you got another L in your column. So I'm gonna still go Panthers, but it's always a chance. Not a big one, always a chance.
Well, I'll tell you where there is no chance. There is no chance that you're going to find better UFL coverage than right here on the United Football Media Channel. Like I said, we got pods for every single individual team. So many talented people working for this channel. You'll have a blast checking out Hellraisers. You'll have a blast checking out Roughnecks Rundown. I love me some Brahma Bullpen on all the rest of the shows that we do here. I know my man Noah got an individual shout out last week. I think we're adding some new content, some new experts. We've got a coach coming in to host a new show starting up this week. More information on that as it becomes available. Be looking out at the UFM Twitter feed. Awesome addition there. Very excited about it. As you can see now more than ever, rolling into these playoffs, the world of United Football Media does not stop. And this has been Tell Me About It.